Everybody, welcome to 312, the HRP podcast, with a very special episode for you today. We are at HRP's first alumni event. It is a beautiful, sunny day here out at Winding Trails, a lovely little campground. We've got quite a nice little pavilion set up here, and we have folks from every generation of HRP here today, and we will be hearing from them in nice short little interviews in just a minute. We wanted to bring you this special episode today because HRP is a storied company with a colorful and fun past. Being a small shop that punches above its weight, a lot of the history of the company doesn't always get documented. In today's episode, we're going to be hoping to catch some of that history, some of those best moments that you may not have heard about before. Okay, getting started on our first pass through the crowd here. See who will talk to us. I'm kind of hoping with this episode, these interviews, to get maybe some of the history of the company that we might not have in other means, kind of like get a sense of what it was during your time, and especially since being the founder of the company, you can kind of tell us really what it was like in the early days. I'll just have you start by saying your name, that you were founded the company, and how long you were with HRP for.
My name?
Yep.
Is Jose Jimenez. Oh, no. My name is Mark Positento. I am the P in HRP. I started the company, it was 1982. Me and Joe Rinaldi and John Hausman. And we were working in the hazardous waste business as private consultants, and we decided that, we could do this stuff ourselves and started the company, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. What was it like when it was just the three of you, very first starting the company? What were those days like?
Well, here's one of the stories that I like to tell all the time. When we first started, we had this small office upstairs in this dilapidated place, and we had no Xerox machine or anything. When we wanted to make copies, we used to send Joe Rinaldi over to the library with a shitload of dimes. And we were also waiting to get our stationery, and we had some clients that both John and Joe and I had from our previous jobs that we were stealing. And it just happened. And so we had this one proposal. It was a client of Joe's, and he wanted an environmental regulatory review. Nice company down in the shore, and went to see it, and they wrote the proposal. But I'm waiting for the stationery. So the guy calls me, because he's waiting for the thing, and we had just got the stationery, and I had just made out wrote the proposal for environmental regulatory review, and my quote was $5,000, which I thought was a reasonable amount based on what I did before. So now we're just starting, right? We got nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So the guy calls. He says, "Where's that proposal?" I says, "I just put it in the mail." Yeah. Well, the guy goes, "If it's less than $20,000, you got the job." Get the mail! Somebody get the mail! We actually thought about breaking into the mailbox to pull the proposal out. But those are the kind of things that happened back then.
Yeah.
You had nobody to do it. It was me, Joe, and John, and Debbie D'Amico would type for us, and Mike Peck would do drafting on the side. So we had to do what you had to do. Yeah. I had 3 kids. They needed to eat.
Yes.
So we stayed as long as we had to stay. But it all worked out.
Yeah, that was really the birth of
worked out.
work hard, play hard for the company.
Yes.
Exactly.
Of course, we had beer delivery twice a week.
Of course, yeah.
Exactly.
So I hope you guys are still having fun, though.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Very good.
What would you hope that you could see carry over from those very early days of HRP into the present and going forward? What would you most want to see as a tradition of HRP, or as in the atmosphere of HRP, last through?
I mean, to enjoy the job.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't come to work if it's going to be miserable. I mean, we pretty much had an open policy. Everybody was a professional. We didn't, it wasn't like, you had to put time sheets in or that kind of stuff. You did the job. I didn't care what time you came in, what time you left.
Yeah.
Okay, and we worked hard all day, and we had a few beers before we went home.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't have to have the beer part, but I mean, as long as it's an enjoyable relationship and everybody gets along good, all American way.
Absolutely. All right, well, Mark, thank you so much for talking to me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, and good luck, HRP.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're here with Debbie D'Amico.
Hello.
And Mike Peck.
Hi.
Okay, and you are employee number 4.
Yes, I am.
And employee number 5.
Yes.
Okay, so in the early days, obviously, you guys are the early days.
Yes, we are.
Wait a
Okay.
minute. I think he just called us old.
That's gold, Mike. Yeah, you're old. Anyway,
You know what I used to
when you
do?
first started out,
I used to carry my IBM typewriter up the stairs every day that I went to work, and then I would carry it back home again.
so that was before you guys were on Lexington. What
The
street?
place he had to kind of go up the fire escape to get to the second floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Pete spent 3 weeks painting the place.
And that would be Pete Mislick,
Pete Mislick.
otherwise known as
The Mole.
Gold, Mikey, gold.
And then on the days where I didn't go into the office, but there was work for me, Mike would drive to my house and drop the work off and then come back a couple days later and pick it up.
And then, with a pocket full of dimes, go to the library to make copies.
HRP lore right
It
here.
was a 2-room office with 1 bathroom.
Right next to her desk.
oh
so-
my.
There were days where certain people, I will not name names.
Does it start with P?
It starts with H, actually, probably, but...
Well, no, there was an H, but there was a P.
But he was decent enough to go down the street to the gas station.
Or to Friendly's restaurant.
Remember the time we pennied the door and we couldn't get out and we were blowing smoke under the door? He couldn't get out.
We took some plastic tubing, lit up cigarettes, and blew the smoke under the door.
And this is when the H of HRP was on the throne.
That would be correct.
He was on the throne.
Well, that was his office at that point, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
But I went in Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings and sat and looked at the phone hoping it would ring.
And then to make her feel good, I'd go down the street and call her.
More dimes. Okay, so when you retired, Debbie, like, what's your fondest? Like, if you could pick out one memory that like really stands out, or even two, whatever. Like, you don't have to pare it down, but just pick a memory that you can like just share with us now. We got Mike counting on his fingers next to you.
Date.
Oh, go ahead.
February 11th, 1985.
Oh, the birth of your child. That has to be up there.
That was up there.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was up
All right, so tell us what happened that day.
Well-
besides the birth of your child.
How many people were... My son was the first child born to an HRP employee. We shut the office down and went up to
Shocking.
the street to the West Main Deli. Was that the name of the
West
place?
Westside Cafe.
West Side Pub.
Pub, whatever. They served alcohol.
Yes, they did.
Since it was, celebration of my son being born, at the time I thought I wouldn't have to pay. But after 8 shots and 8 beers, they ran out of money, so then I had to kick in. And then I drove to New Haven to see my wife. Oh, that didn't go well. February 11th, 1985. That was the day.
Yeah. I think numerous employees had to get alternate rides home.
I think that might have happened on several occasions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually the birth of a child.
I think early on, the play hard kind of might have been
Definitely.
60-40 over the work hard.
There were the Friday night poker games in the kitchen on Lexington Street. Yeah. Yeah. Those usually turned ugly also.
Lexington Street, the house that the office was in on Lexington Street, the only thing that divided that building from the next door neighbor was the width of a driveway. And it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're playing poker, and the P of HRP, I beat him. He didn't expect to lose, and I beat him, and he jumped up on the table, jokingly screaming, "I'm going to kill you!" Well, the lady next door called the police. She thought there was a murder going on. They came in. They didn't have guns drawn, but they had the clips undone. They were ready. We talked about it.
We had a lot of fun in that building on Lexington Street.
Yes, we did. Well, the other thing, which we used to have a video of and we no longer do, was when the boys went away for their annual meeting.
Yep.
And we made the video of what we do when the bosses go away.
Oh, that was in Plainville, I think.
That
and it
was
was
in Plainville.
Annabelle was with us, and I believe we kind of sort of went to the casino.
Yeah, so we pretended to go to the casino. We had a bingo hall set upstairs.
Yes.
There was we had the copy guy. Remember the copy guy came in fix the fax machine? And we told him to just pick it up and walk it out the building. So when we told him we wouldn't blame him for stealing the equipment, but we were just going to show how everybody else was partying and leaving equipment unattended.
Just walking out.
But we had a really great video of that we ultimately showed to the bosses at our Christmas party.
And I think that was kind of like it's always been the best part of HRP is the fact that we can all just have fun together. We definitely worked hard, but it was like a family, and we all had fun together. And Mike, one of the things you kind of reminded me of was when the three partners, HRP, had their three Peugeots parked right outside our windows in that driveway in Lexington, right?
We drove Houseman crazy.
And we used to drive John Houseman crazy. And go ahead and tell.
John, the H of HRP, his office was on the third floor. So he would come in the morning, park his car right outside of our window. He'd get his coffee. He'd make his way up to the third floor. There were no elevators, so he walked up to the third floor. We'd let him get settled in, and then we would go out and shake his car till the burglar alarm went off.
And then
he brought it back. It was an aftermarket alarm system. He brought it back to the poor guy who put it in 3 times.
Yeah, we would always shake his car till the alarm went off, and then Mike would call him and go, John,
come
your
on.
alarm's going off again.
You're driving us crazy down here. And then he had a metal detector. And from time to time, he would take his metal detector and walk down the street to Walnut Grove Park. And he would just go around with his metal detector. So I went with him one day, pretending I gave... Oh, I can't say that. Pretending I was interested.
We'll block that.
And as I'm following behind him, I'm dropping pennies. It goes off. Son of a bitch, it's a penny. Finally, after about 10 cents, he realized what was going on. Good old John.
Well, I know, personally, working with the two of you over 30 years has easily been, I have some of the best memories of my lifetime. And I can't tell you how thankful I am that you're both here today. And I hope you've seen people that you haven't seen in years.
I have. It was really, I'm glad I came.
And I hope you've enjoyed coming.
Darren McDonald for crying out loud.
Darren McDonald. And I told him, I said, don't tie Buzzy into a pretzel again. And he said, oh yeah, no, that's okay.
Anyway.
McDonald. Well, and I got to see Chris Shepard. He was part of our
the bowling team. I believe I put a picture on the board.
We had a bowling league, and we were called Team Clueless because we pretty much were. And we used to drink alphabetically every week at the
You guys
bowling.
had skills, I'll tell you that.
We did.
I used to go just watch you and drink alphabetically with you. But anyway, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. Even though you both said, I'm not talking to anybody.
My agent will be in touch.
No, talk to him.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
How was that?
That was fantastic.
All right.
That was great. Give me your name and the years that you worked here.
Tom Salamino, HRP Associates, 1987 to 1990.
Nice.
So the best story I remember was a Secret Santa Christmas, probably 88, 89, and we were celebrating in the kitchen cafeteria of Plainville Avenue in Plainville. New Britain Avenue in Plainville. And so we were playing wiffle ball, and then we lost the ball in the cafeteria. So then we started using the Christmas tree bulbs, the ornaments from the tree, and every swing of the bat was just another shattered ornament. So we wanted to be neat, and we had to clean it up. So we used the tree, artificial tree. We used the tree to sweep it up.
Yeah, of
For
course.
some reason, Frank Silva the donator of all said items was somewhat upset and frustrated with our antics.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep them together, right? So it only makes sense to use the tree to sweep the bulbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to keep it
What
together.
else would you use? Yeah.
It was actually effective.
It was very effective.
Tom, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I totally remember when he started talking about it. And then we used. Oh my god.
So can you tell us your name?
My name is Doug Pelham.
And what years did you work at HRP?
I started in 1989 and left in 1994.
Okay. Now, Bubba has informed me that you were instrumental in the creation of 312.
Yes, I was there when it was created.
What can you tell us about that time?
So I think it was Tom Sedgwick, Keith Jebrin, and me talking trash to each other about who could chug a beer quicker.
Okay.
And we decided the only way to resolve that would be to go over to J. Timothy's, which was across the street, because we were in the Plainville office at the time, and chug beers, and then that would settle the story. So we got up, we walked across the street, we ordered beers, we chugged the beers. I won, of course.
Nice, okay.
And then we walked back. And that was on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And then the next Friday we said, remember last Friday when we went and had a beer at J. Timothy's?
Yeah.
That was all right. Let's do that again. So we went across the street, we had a beer, and we came back. And after that, it just became a tradition. At 3:12 on Fridays, which is the time that we walked out on that first day, we got up, walked across the street, had a beer, came back, and finished off the day.
Nice. So what would you hope that, when you think fondly back at HRP, what would you hope carries through from that time into the present and going forward for the company? What would you like to see preserved in the spirit of HRP, and what do you think is important about it?
Well, it's the same thing that I think you already do. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
That was the mantra back then, and it's still the mantra today.
And why was that so important back then and for you think now?
Well, being young at the time, of course, I thought it was just a great life attitude. You do your best at work, and then when you're on your own time, you still do the best you can.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, Doug, thank you so much for talking to us. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Great to have your voice on the podcast.
Thanps.
And how you doing, Jason? Hey, I don't know if I said hello to you.
You have to interview him.
Oh, Matt.
I'm the Matt Stein.
Oh my God, dude. It's been so long.
Dude, I was you were a baby when I started.
Pretty much, yeah.
You would see Tom when he was like,
Yeah.
saying hi to
Yeah.
the soft.
Yeah, your dad would bring you in. I'm like, and you were a little kid.
Uh-huh.
So you're 25
Well, you were
now, right?
basically a kid, too,
I was
at that time
24.
back then. Yeah.
Do you want to hear an early
Yes,
story?
absolutely. Can I get you over here real
All right,
quick?
here
We
we
can
go.
talk about it? Okay. So, there, and tell us your name and when you worked at HRP.
My name is Matt Stein. I worked from 1997 to 2002.
Okay.
My earliest memory of HRP, I had to bail a well with a stainless steel baler all day long until I couldn't move my arms. And George Hogue, another person, I think he did that to torture me.
Yes.
So that's one of my very earliest memories of HRP.
Were you bailing for Hexchrome?
It was.
But yes, because I had to do the same thing.
You're kidding.
No, when I first started, I was interning for like 2 years, and they initially thought I was going to be a fieldwork guy. So one of the things they had me do, probably because they didn't want to do it themselves, so they had me go hand bale the stainless steel baler to get like the Hexchrome.
Yeah.
You know,
Was the water yellow?
Yeah, the special Gatorade flavored Hexchrome out of the.
That's
the
really.
site
That's
there.
one of my. That was. The week before that, I labeled bottles for an entire week.
Yes.
And then my first field project was bailing water for an entire day.
Oh.
So.
All right. Matt, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So can you quickly tell us your name and the years that you worked at HRP?
Dave Norton, and I worked there from 1999 to 2004.
Okay. And what are some of your favorite memories or times of it at HRP?
Favorite memories, definitely Thanksgiving football games.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys do those anymore, but
I heard they got a little too rough and we had to maybe put the sort of
it's
stop to
possible.
that.
It was a very fun place to work.
Yeah.
Lots of young people. I was very young back then.
Uh-huh.
I actually learned a lot. I did some surveying, and that's kind of what gotten me to where I am today. So.
Yeah, very cool. So, I guess how would you describe the atmosphere, what it was like there at that time?
Honestly, just fun. It
Yeah.
was the most fun place I ever worked, to this day for sure. Everybody worked together well. It was just, at that time in my life, was a good place to be.
So it was a very welcoming place you felt like you wanted to be at and work
Exactly.
at.
Yes.
Okay.
Liked coming to work every day.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Because we definitely try to continue that on into the way HRP is now.
That's awesome.
I guess what from your time at HRP would you want to make sure that current employees and maybe future employees know about HRP? What would you want to see those employees carry on? What spirit of HRP would you want to see move forward?
Again, I guess the camaraderie and the willingness to work with each other.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it was a lot of fresh faces all the time. Not all the time, but it said they used to hire people straight out of college a lot, which was great. And
During your time, what was a typical day for you? What were some of the things that you tackled and did?
I was in the drafting department, so just a lot of site plans and learning that technology, and it was much different than it is now. We had actual pen plotters and instead of large format printers and stuff. I also worked with the surveyor a lot. That was a lot of fun, going out and locating and elevating wells, and I worked with the field services department some, bailing wells, and I did a little bit of everything. I was kind of like a utility guy for a little while.
So you're probably out there all year round in all the elements.
Sure.
You're taking that on. Yeah.
Yep. So
And
I just got to
probably
learn how to dress. That's
yes. A lot of work with Bubba too, I would think, right?
Yes,
What was he like back then?
Not much different than he is now.
Yeah.
Fun guy, nice guy, fun to be around. Again, he and I sat very close together, so it was a good atmosphere. Mike Peck was our boss, and he was a very, very good guy to be around as well. And I said just overall fun place. I would try to keep that up as much as possible. Do the events like this, and do like I said, the in-house parties that you had for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I said the football game. If you could revive those were always a fun memory.
We gotta look into that. We gotta see if we can bring that back.
Should have an alumni football game. We could all hurt ourselves.
Yes, that would be pretty brutal. We might have to have a EMS on standby for that one.
I'm sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey. Can I interview you?
Interview?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go. Yeah, come over here. Can you tell us your name?
Carolyn Izzo.
And what time period were you at HRP for? What was your tenure?
I was there from May 2016 to November 2021.
What was the company like during the time you were there?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite memories? Or maybe one that sticks out for you as a favorite that you return to?
Well, geez, Tom, I would have to say the 5K that we participated in.
That was a lot of fun. I really like that.
Hanging out in the beer garden after.
Great example of kind of the connections the folks at HRP have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that extend
Absolutely.
outside of just the company itself, outside of work hours. This is a great example of that too. It's so nice to see people here today.
It is. I mean, I've made lasting relationships here at HRP that, that will never be broken. So,
what's a story or a moment or just a general feeling that you have about your time here that you would like past, present, future employees to know about? Something that you wouldn't want lost?
The camaraderie. People watch your back here. People take care of each other.
Yeah.
It's a family, really.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, thank you very much, Carolyn.
Thank you, brother.
For the people here, can you give us your name, the years you worked here, and what your position was?
Okay, Walt Gancars, employee number 9, started here in 1984. Proceeded up the ranks, finished up as CEO, retired 2012.
What did you start as when you were at HRP? What was your position then?
I don't know, some lowly engineer, perhaps. I might have been a project engineer at the time, start.
And then all the way up to CEO?
Yes.
What was the time differential between that and CEO?
Well, like I say, I started in '84. Mark, John, Joe left in 2000, thereabouts. Bob and I took over then.
Yeah.
So probably 2001, somewhere around that change.
So what I'm hoping to get today is kind of people's favorite stories or memories and try to capture the history of HRP.
Well, one story I can think of happened probably early 90s. Now, at that point in time, we were probably an $8 million firm, and we went for a large contract with the Navy. The Navy was based in Philly, but it covered the northern 16 states, northern New England, 16 states. So we were up against a bunch of heavyweights for an on-call environmental services contract. I remember Mark, Bob Leach, Rick McPhee, and I went down for the interview, and it was a big deal because it was a $5 million contract to an $8 million firm. And we were going against all the big boys, and we made our case. We were smaller, swifter on our feet. You were talking to the people that were going to do the work. And then we went home and waited patiently for probably a month or two. And I'll never forget, Mark and I were headed out to lunch, and the mail came, and we saw there was a letter from the Navy. Kind of like your college applications, It was a thin letter. I thought, well, this probably isn't good news. It's probably just going to tell you that, thanks, but no thanks. And we opened it up, and lo and behold, we've been awarded the contract. And we went wild. Of course, the whole office at that point emptied out. We went across the street to J. Timothy's and probably spent the next 2 hours there celebrating. So it was a lot of fun. It was a big point in our history because really that was the first time we really started to do a lot of out-of-state stuff. We, that contract covered anywhere between Maine and Delaware. So we had a lot of work up in Maine, a lot in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut. And, it really helped, make us a little bit more multi-state than we had been.
Awesome. What from the days or your time at HRP do you hope carries through to the present and into the future for the company?
Well, I think as any company progresses, the hard part is, you become more structured. You have to become more structured. It's just a place. But, early on, it was every hand on deck.
Yeah.
If we had a big project, literally everybody that worked there was making copies, binding reports, driving it to the site to deliver it. That camaraderie, is hard to match.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when you become 120 person firm, it's hard to do that. But that camaraderie, I think, is what I have as my fondest memory.
All right. Well, Walt, thank you so much for talking to us today.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Play Hard section of this episode of the podcast. As always, Play Hard is a video section, so if you are listening to us on the audio segment, head over to our YouTube channel and see what we got for you. We still got some folks here. It's getting a little later on in the day here at the alumni event, but we've definitely had a great turnout so far.
Yes, indeed.
And a lot of great memories shared. Let's start off. Bubba, what are we drinking? I've got baby kittens.
Sheesh,
Become a staple at the
I'm
podcast.
undercover here, and I can't get it out myself because I have a busted wing. So
It's wounded.
Tom's going to have to unscrew the top.
Okay.
Yes, so let's see. Who the F put carrot in the cake?
And that is a really nice sour.
It is. It's a sour, yes.
From a brewery called Hoof-Hearted.
It's actually, no. This is one of the collaborations out of 12%
that's right.
Project.
Yeah.
So
and-
it's, let's see, Skygazer.
Yes.
And
It's a favorite of ours.
Yeah, I don't remember the other ones.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Yep.
You can look it up.
So how's it been so far today?
Honestly, Tom, it kind of exceeded my expectations. I mean, I knew that we had people coming from all generations of HRP, but it was really cool to like literally see that happen. You know, you put so much planning into this, and you hope that it works out. And I think today was a great success. Everybody that stopped by told us that they absolutely enjoyed it and that we should do it more often. And they're glad that we did. Personally, I saw people I haven't seen in 25 years. It just was really good for the soul.
Absolutely.
And I think nowadays, you know, with everything going on, it's nice to find a way to recharge your batteries. And I think today definitely did that for me.
So a lot of familiar faces today.
Yeah, definitely.
Who are some that you were, you know, maybe weren't expecting to see or were really happy to reconnect with?
So, I mean, there were folks that said they were coming.
Yeah.
And I was like totally stoked about that they were coming. And still, you know, you don't really, you kind of reserve judgment until they actually walk through the door, so to speak.
Yeah.
And there were some people today that walked through the door that, like I said, I haven't seen in 25, 30 years. Darren McDonald, he's one of the folks that was around. He literally was the guy that called the copier dead when it fell from the roof, and we didn't get it on to the roof and throw it off.
Can you tell us that story real quick in as much detail as you would want to share with our audience?
So we were having an HRP in-house party. I think it might have been around Thanksgiving. Don't quote me on that. But we had we were having a good time, and we had a copier repairman working on a copier that still worked, that was still functioning. He was just like fixing something. But we also had a copier that was completely dead. And I'm not going to say it was me because it wasn't me, but we decided we were going to throw that copier off the roof.
Yes.
So we kind of kidnapped the copier repairman and made him come over and take a picture, giving the he's all done signal. And that was our, you know, we were legitimizing the fact that that copier was dead and we were going to throw it off the roof. So we brought it into the print room in the old building in Plainville on the second floor, and we tied it up, and we had some people go up on the roof. There were 5 or 6 of us. I was one of the people on the roof, and we started hoisting it up, and we got it up into the roof hatch, and actually I think it might have been George Hogue who climbed up the ladder underneath that copier that was suspended and was trying to rotate it and work it through the hole. And then it ended. Mark Possidento, the P in HRP, walked into the room and said, "What the heck are you doing? Put that down." Well, the people that were in the print room kind of were just like, But those of us on the roof were still holding that copier up in the hatch. And Mark started screaming at us to put it down, put it down. So we started to lower it slowly, and the knot broke loose. And everybody on the roof felt the same thing. We felt the rope going, and then going slack. And we heard, bang! And so basically, from eyewitness reports, as I was on the roof, it basically came loose and tumbled and fell at Mark's feet and went boom and exploded. And then Darren McDonald was there, and he pretty much like laid down and went, "No, I think it's dead now." And then Mark proceeded to scream at us to show our faces, the people on the roof, and called us cowards and told us to come down. And we did, slowly, one by one. And I got the Mark looking at me and going, "Bubba, you?" So that's the story of the copier going off the roof. We never got it there, but we tried.
You're the original corrupted youth of HRP.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a good kid when I started.
And now you're
17 years
HRP all the
old.
way through.
Yes, I have more HRP in me than I have otherwise. So yeah. But today we saw people from every generation.
Yeah.
Mark Passanino was here. He's the P in HRP. We saw Walt Gankars was here. He was the next generation of ownership. Dan Titus is here. We saw Darren McDonald. Like I said, I haven't seen him in 30 years.
Yeah.
Matt Stein from the early 90s.
Oh, Matt,
Doug
yeah.
Pelham, who hopefully you got some
I
good
did.
audio from. Doug's one of the originators of 312. And Tom's actually wearing an HRP 312 shirt. So
Very sweaty one.
Well, it was a little muggy out here
It's a
today.
bit muggy.
Yeah, a bit
Just a
muggy.
tad.
Just a tall tad didn't make
Just
it.
a skosh muggy.
Yeah. So yeah, we have current employees, and we have Marilee. Is that Marilee?
So, when talking to people today that you saw today, were there memories or times that you had just completely forgotten about that came back to light seeing these folks?
Oh my. Yes, literally, there were stories that we started talking and they would bring up a memory, and I didn't remember it until they started bringing up that memory, and I was like, oh my, that was so much fun. And it kind of just like unlocks your brain, and you're like, oh, I remember that. Holy, that was amazing. And that's the best part of bringing people from all these decades, 40 years of HRP.
Yeah.
That makes you like remember all these good times, and it's been a great day. It was a lot of hard work.
Oh yeah.
I did a lot of stuff, but Deb Berardi came through and totally straightened out my focus on this. I had a lot of help from you. I had a lot of help from a lot of people today.
A lot of people pitched in and did
a lot of people.
Yeah,
and
it was really
that's-
great to see.
But that's HRP. So
If you had to pick a best part of today, what would you say it was?
the smiles.
A single moment.
The smiles.
But a single individual moment.
Oof. Okay, so I actually had somebody come through that I haven't seen in 20 years who said something to me that nearly made me start crying.
Yeah.
She said that I was one of the reasons that she thought better of people. And that means a lot when you think that you've impacted somebody. And her name is Jen Convey. Her name was Jen Convey. Her married name, I can't remember right now, but I knew her as Jen Convey forever, and she's always going to be Jen Convey in my head. So, but yeah, she said that to me, and it just, you go through life and you just want to make a positive impact on people.
Yeah.
And she kind of validated that for me today, and it really feels good, having somebody say that about you, that it makes her feel better about humanity.
Well, Bubba, you've had a really positive impact on a lot of people.
I'm not perfect.
You've been here for a while, and you've done a lot for everybody here, and we've all been really lucky to have you and be able to work with you over the years.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
100% true, man. And I think everybody here would say the same.
I love the fact
Some might call
that-
you just a bum.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it's all love.
But I love the fact that there's people still, all day, they've been doing it, and they're still huddled around all those pictures.
Yeah.
And they're all looking at them right now, and I see so many smiles. And they're pointing at them going, oh, you remember that? That's the best. All those memories.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're going to close it out here on a successful alumni event day. I'm joined now by Dan Titus, current CEO of the company. And we just kind of want to talk for a minute about why events like this are important and why we thought this was a valuable investment for the company. Dan, what are your thoughts on today? What do you think?
So, Tom, as you mentioned when we were getting ready to do this little piece, talked a lot to people today about the culture and the history of the company. And so that's well covered. But I think from a business perspective, the important thing to understand is that, this company has this ethos, this thing that binds people to the people of the company. And even though folks move on and they go on to different and better opportunities and lives change and whatever, there's still this history that exists with this company, which keeps people sort of part of the conversation. And so from a business perspective, the reason that we do these kinds of things is because it's valuable to have people who have an affinity for HRP out there in the world, who might run across an idea or an opportunity or whatever and go, hey, this would be perfect for HRP, and can throw it back to us, or run into a young person who's looking for a new opportunity, an employment opportunity, and say, hey, I know a great company that you should inquire with to work with. And that referral network that comes out of this association that people have with the company is, to be sort of the four corners of the hard business, is a real asset. And so I think it's incumbent upon the company to propagate and protect this asset on a going forward basis, because I just personally don't know of many organizations that have something like this.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everybody out there, thank you so much for watching today, for listening. If you're still on the audio portion of the podcast, make sure to rate us 5 stars. If you're listening, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and notifications, hit the bell for those. And we will see you in the next one.
Go
Thanks,
HRP.
everybody. Go HRP. Move your environment forward. Bye, everybody.